The following podcast is an enticing media production.
Where the Nell have you been? Join us for conversation about life, business, and everything in between. Welcome to What the Nell, where we've got stories to tell. Here's your host, Nell Tice.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the What the Nell podcast, the EcoPreneur's Edge edition with Mikee Bentz. I'm so excited to be back for one of our last remaining episodes of this season. But today is a very important topic. But first, I will let Mikee introduce himself if you are new to the podcast. Mikee, welcome back.
Hi, Nell. Thank you so much. I love being here. I always appreciate your time and joining you in this series. For those who don't know me, I'm Mikee with two E's. I'm also known as Metro Mikee on all social media platforms. It's spelled with two E's because the two E's in my name stand for the environment and everyone. Those are the two things that I care about most. I am an eco-friendly entrepreneur in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I own a salon that utilizes low-tox and no-tox ingredients and sustainable practices, and I also own a dance studio, of which I'm representing, if you're watching the YouTubes, Metropolis Dance Studio, and also in downtown Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, an eco-friendly dance studio trying to showcase sustainability in all the business ventures that I do. So what are we talking about today now?
Oh, we're talking about the ever-elusive topic of greenwashing and labeling. But first, I want to mention, excuse me, I think we need to do an entire episode on eco-friendly apparel, so keep that in the back of your mind. I think people would enjoy that.
I have a little resource for some people who are looking to go into that venture. We'll talk about a little bit later.
Absolutely. So there's a little teaser, you guys. But yes, today's topic is greenwashing and labeling. All extremely important things to know about and focus on if you are looking to be that eco-friendly entrepreneur. So, Mikee, what exactly is greenwashing? I know that's a very confusing topic for some people.
There are a couple confusing topics now. The easiest one to put them under would be greenwashing, but there's greenwashing, there's blue washing, there's I believe there's whitewashing, which we all know from Tom Sawyer and painting, but but greenwashing is usually the easiest one for me to explain, and the best definition I can find is greenwashing is a deceptive marketing practice where a company or organization falsely claims to be environmentally friendly or exaggerates its sustainability efforts to appear eco-conscious. This can involve misleading labels, which I want to talk a little bit about today, vague claims, or highlighting one small positive action while ignoring broader harmful practices. And there are some labels that we can get into that kind of showcase all of those. The goal of greenwashing is to attract environmentally conscious consumers without making substantial changes to reduce the company's actual environmental impact. And that is really what got me interested in the entire labeling system, because I would walk through the grocery store, or I would be, in a beauty product store looking for trendy things or new things to help elevate my, salon career. And they will almost I don't want to say antagonize, but they will draw you in with this fancy new label, but the label, even though it looks great, looks good on the bottle, honestly, the recycling label, the little three-sided recycling label, is one of these that really sticks out to me. They will draw you in and, get your money. They will make you purchase their product thinking that you're doing something good, when in reality, they're not doing what they promised, and they have just created a label that means nothing.
Right. There are no regulations. One of the biggest ones for me is all natural. There's no regulation in the usage of the term all natural. It really can mean anything. And if a company puts a green leaf on their label, or they do something like that. That's exactly what you're talking about. And I think it's really important to highlight the fact that you have to do your own research and know what labels are truly saying to know if there's a product that you're looking at that's involved in greenwashing.
And we'll talk about all the labels. Something when I was first starting to get into noticing labels, and it really like hurt my heart, was goodness, way back when the dinosaurs were roaming the earth and I was starting to, get into all of this, I found that there were just a few labels here in the US that actually meant anything. And so when we were going to the grocery store, I know that we covered the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen in a previous episode of the EcoPreneur's Edge. We would go to the grocery store and the labeling wasn't up to where it's at now, which I'm so proud to see all the growth that happened. But we would look for produce from countries in South America because they weren't using the harmful agricultural practices that we had grown accustomed to here in the U.S. So I was like, I would love something that was labeled effectively, where the label actually meant something, and it told me the truth. And I would love to support U.S.-made companies, like, the people who were doing things in my own backyard. And I know that we also talked about knowing our local farmers and stuff like that. But when it came to, beauty products, healthcare supplements, workout, all the different workout products that we can use. I know that we've talked about fitness in a previous episode. So all these things were intersecting in my life at a time when I was also trying to be, a great patriot and support my city, state, and country. And I couldn't find those labels that meant anything right here in my own backyard.
Yeah, and it almost becomes a, lesser of two evils thing where you have to pick and choose, because if we are going to support buying produce and things from other countries, I mean, think about the carbon footprint that produces and the travel and all of the fumes and everything that's involved with transporting the items. So that's a really important thing. And how were you able to settle on what your priority was and what was important to you in that process?
So I was lucky enough to really champion the USDA organic symbol when I was getting into this journey. And I love networking, and I know that maybe we should do an episode on networking in the future. But I have made some very incredible, very knowledgeable friends in the eco-friendly and sustainability realm, but also in like the beauty and self and healthcare realm. So I was able to reach out to people who knew the answers to the questions that I was asking. It's why I went with the main hair color and hair product line in my salon, and have since supplemented that with things. The hair color line didn't always have vegan products. So I looked for something that hit all of the labels I was looking for from that company, but was also vegan. They have now since added a vegan line into their standard product offerings. But I've fallen in love with some other vegan options that still hit the eco-friendly, carbon neutrality, sustainable packaging. But they have all those, labels that I was looking for, essential oils used from USDA organic olive oil, or lavender oil, or whatever I was looking for. So I did all the footwork here, and I'm hoping to share some of the things that I've had to struggle through over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get into some of that, because there's a lot to cover, and I know we're only scratching the surface with the labeling portion. So let's get to it. Let's hit it hard.
And so my first, segue into this labeling does kind of correlate with the global standards that have come into play. So I know that there's a lot of times when Europe has been doing a lot better when it comes to limiting hazards in their food and healthcare and self-care products, and then also labeling them.
Yes.
I definitely want to start with some food safety labels, but these cover a broad range around around the world. So here in the U.S., we have our USDA organic. I'm hoping that everyone, I don't know how our recording software. I wish I could do one of those little newscaster, things and have the label pop up.
Yeah, I can import some visual images in the recording then.
So there's USDA Organic, which is the U.S. certification for organic food, ensuring no synthetic pesticides, fertilizers, or genetically modified organisms are found in that product. There's EU Organic, which is the European Union certification for organic farming practices. Now notice that that's a little different because it doesn't say anything about GMOs. Europe doesn't use as many as the US, although I know that they do. There's Canada Organic, which is a certification for organic products grown and processed in Canada. There's Soil Association Organic, which is for the UK and basically does the same thing. There's BioSiegel, which is the German organic label. There's the ACO, Australia Certified Organic, obviously for Australian. There's JAS, Japan Agricultural Standard. That's a label that they use in Japan. IFOAM, that's the International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movements. This is one of the few that recognizes organic standards globally. So a little bit harder and more time consuming to get on that one. But if you see that, you know that basically anywhere that you're living, that is good for what your country's verifications are for organic agriculture. One of my favorites is actually the non-GMO Project Verified. That one's a little square label. It says non-GMO.
It's a very pretty label.
It is. I don't know why I love that one, other than I love non-GMO foods. There's Fair Trade Organic, which is certified organic products that also meet fair trade principles. So that one's taking any of the USDA organic, EU, Canada, and giving that certification. So if you see fair trade organic, you know that it's organic, and then you also know that it wasn't, unethically harvested using labor that is lower than minimum wage, or in harsh working conditions that OSHA wouldn't approve. And then there's Demeter, which is the biodynamic farming and organic certification. So those are some of the big ones that you'll see globally. So if you see that in the international food aisle at your grocery store, you can trust that those are just as good as much as we trust the government on any given day.
Yeah, and that can be a whole topic in another episode in itself. I'm curious. So I know Rainforest Alliance, excuse me, Rainforest Alliance certified is also an important part, but is there a Rainforest Alliance and organic certification, or are they still just two separate certifications?
I think that they are not. It's the Rainforest Alliance label certification, and of course I'm not going to be able to pull up my little information. I'm pretty sure that the Rainforest Alliance certification is just saying that it's not using destructive habitat processes.
Got it. Okay.
I don't know that that necessarily means that the agricultural processes would need to not use pesticides or herbicides, and I know that you can not destroy the rainforest, but also plant genetically modified organisms. So I think that the biggest one for the rainforest certified is the palm oil, which is quickly becoming the #1 cooking oil in the world, and that destroys a lot of the habitat in Southeast Asia, Indonesia, the islands there, and I know the poor little or big orangutans are losing all their habitat because they're harvesting they're reducing the rainforest to plant the palms, which then they harvest for the palm oil.
Yes. Yeah, that is a big one. I remember because I used to work in food safety at a company before I started what I'm doing now. And that was the biggest thing right before I left, was the concerns over palm oil. Yeah,
and palm oil, in the grand scheme of things, I think that there's a lot of light being shed, and this could be a whole episode in its own in the future, but there are definitely a lot of research going into what types of things we should be cooking in, like butter and lard versus sunflower and safflower oil.
Yes, the seed oils, my gosh. And there's a lot of controversy around even, avocado oil. Avocados are, a superfood. And, but the problem in the processing is, depending on the company, you have to be really careful and really read the labels, because a lot of those oils, there's no regulations. They can be cut with other seed oils to stretch the product even further. So, and it's also one of those things where you get what you pay for too. So if you're looking for the cheapest possible product, but you think that product is good for you because it's called avocado oil, it's probably not all avocado oil. I hate to tell people that, but it's true.
There's also something that can be said, a little disclaimer for this episode, if you will. Just because my barbecue flavored potato chips in the organic aisle are certified non-GMO, it does not necessarily make them a great snack for us to have compared to an apple or organic grapes. So I don't ever want to mislead anyone that just because there's an organic label on it means that it's healthy for us, in business or in life.
Yes, that's very true, because that goes down a whole other route of what is good for our bodies, what fuels our bodies. And I mean, quite honestly, you could have the most non-GMO potato chips cooked in the healthiest fats, and it's still a potato chip.
This is accurate, and that was sparked by the avocado oil that we were talking about, because yes, avocados are great, but if we're looking for the health benefits of an avocado, just eat a whole avocado. Like, we don't need to, cook something in avocado oil to get the benefits. Because once we process things, it's like there was a whole movement way back when Rachel Ray was on daytime television, and people actually watched daytime television. She was like EVOO, but it was cold pressed, extra virgin, organic olive oil. And so the less we can process our foods, whether it's organic or not, the more healthy and the more our body's going to know what to do with those nutrients.
Absolutely. Eat more whole, real foods. I think that is what comes down to it. And, processed. Look, we live in a society where we're constantly going, and we're on the road. We are in the air, we are on the phone, and all of the things. And I understand that it's not entirely possible, especially for so many people, to eat 100% of the time whole, real foods. So that's where the labeling comes into play. Look at the labels, read the labels, understand what they mean, so that you can make the best choices with the knowledge that you have.
Man, I'm running 2 businesses. I have a couple side hustles. I'm trying to record podcasts with all my lovely, people. So I get into that, like, almost that mindset where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I almost don't even care anymore. I'm going to, eat processed food or stop through a drive-through. And I'm like, there has got to be, and there are, like, there's many grocery stores now will have, ready to eat, made to order kind of things. Sheets, I know we're in Sheets country, and
oh my gosh, yes, we are. And Wawa sometimes.
Well, Wawa's encroaching on our Sheets territory, but
I know.
In something that I try to express, like, labeling is great, whole foods are great. There's sometimes when you can't have the best of both worlds. So I will stop at a Sheetz or a grocery store, and I will pick out something from their, like, they usually have like a refrigerated kiosk right in the middle, and it will have, fruits or a cheese platter, like a to-go charcuterie, if you will.
Yes.
And I will always opt to pick something from those and get, like a protein shake or a juice or a smoothie or something from the cooler over going to that counter, hitting in double order of French fries and, chicken sandwich or whatever. Because even though none of those are labeled organic, it's still better for me to eat the whole food, the grapes, the cheese stick, the beef jerky, stuff like that.
Yes.
So we can make those healthy choices with or without the labeling.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And excuse me, that comes down to a choice about how you value your health. And yes, we're all busy, especially parents that are going from soccer game to ballet practice to everything. And you need something quick and fast and a lot of convenience stores. And if you're listening and you're unfamiliar with a Sheetz or a Wawa, because I know some of those are very regional, think in terms of a Buc-ee's if you're down in the South, or a Circle K, or Tim Hortons, or no, that's coffee, I think. But there's so many different ways and places put right in front of us that make it so convenient for us to just forget about our health goals. And being able to make those healthy choices in those situations, to me, is the true power of healthy mindset. And yes, you're right. Sometimes even the hard-boiled eggs and, something that is just a whole food product is better than anything else that you can get. So, but I will say, be aware of the labeling on especially juices and smoothies, because do you remember years ago there was that brand, I think it's called Naked. It was a fruit smoothie in a container, and they were basically exposed for completely lying about everything on their labels, and it's actually one of the worst beverages that you can consume.
Sugar. Sugar, and then there's a lot of things when it comes to labeling. Actually, I'll touch on this here and now. When it comes to labeling in the US and other places, the UK and Europe are pretty good at minimizing the harmful effects of this. But I know in the salon industry, beauty products, hair care products, can have this fun ingredient list label called fragrance or parfum. And those are things that even if everything else, is asterisk certified organic, what they're allowed to sneak in the parfum or fragrance label can negate any and all. Like, you can find lead, you can find arsenic, you can find formaldehydes, you can find triclosan, you just all these weird things that you would never think that a company would need to put in the fragrance. But because they don't have to disclose the ingredients in fragrance, they only have to label fragrance. There's no real governing body or regulation that says that they have to let you know what's in that fragrance. So that's also what Naked was doing when it came to their exposition. And then another big one for like a restaurant chain was Subway putting yoga mat products in their bread.
What was it, bromine?
Yep. And so it's like, even with all the strict structure when it comes to labeling and ingredient lists and stuff like that, there are many, many ways to still get away. So this is why we need to vote with our heart, vote with our conscience, and vote with our dollar, and really reach out, do our own research, and use the information we're giving you in the EcoPreneur's Edge to guide you to the best ways to spend your time and hard-earned money.
Absolutely. I couldn't think of a better way to wrap up the subject, because I really feel like we could just go on for hours about this. I'm so passionate about it. But yes, do your own research. Listen to this information that we are giving to you. And if you have any other questions or any concerns or anything about anything, you can always reach out to us. We will be happy to guide you and give you the answers, hopefully, that you're looking for. So, Mikee, thank you so, so much again for providing us with all of this knowledge and value and doing all of this research, because you know what? If you're a busy entrepreneur, you've got side hustles, you've got all the things going on, other people can do it too. So I appreciate that so very much.
Well, thank you, Nell. I believe in protecting the environment, and then I believe in everyone. Those are my two E's. And so I know, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And it's a great cause and a great mission that we can all work together, to achieve. And we'll just see how great we can make the future.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it all. And thank you all so much for listening and taking the time out of your day to hear what we have to say and for caring, because if you've made it this far, that means that you must care about the environment at some level and or your health and everyone around you. So thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to, if you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to leave us a review if you're listening on your favorite audio platform. That's how we grow here at the What the Nell podcast. So thank you again. And as always, I will catch you on the next one.
To learn more about how to tell your story, connect with Nell at enticingmedia.com. That's ENTICEING media.com. Thanks for listening to the What the Nell podcast.